I'm Maggie Mercury. Some revolutions don't start on towers. They start in basements. A folding table, a mismatched pair of speakers, a dented mic bought with bake sale money. Tonight, we tune into the underdogs, the college stations that taught America how to listen off the beaten dial. College radio wasn't born from ratings. It was born from permission. Universities built carrier current networks in the 1940s and 50s, tiny signals running through dorm wiring. By the 1960s, campus FMs began to bloom, moving from laboratory experiments to cultural laboratories. The mission wasn't profit, it was access, new voices, local scenes, music the majors wouldn't touch. Where commercial radio optimized for quarters, college radio optimized for curiosity. Game picture, a blocky rack unit hums. A red grease pencil note says watch left fader. It's Friday midnight. A DJ with a stack of imports grins at the cue light. Needle drops. Drum machine stutters. 3 kids in a basement studio punch the sky because their city just heard their band first. Campus rooms felt like half clinic, half club. Posters on cinder block. Milk crates full of 7 inches stapled with hand-drawn liners. You'd see a memo on the corkboard. Don't blow the tweeters. Pinned right above a manifesto on sonic freedom. What made college radio special wasn't just obscurity. It was curation with nerve. Volunteer staffs built libraries no consultant would approve, post-punk into jazz, into Afrofuturism, into polka, and somehow the sequence felt inevitable. Program logs looked like a mixtape of a city's subcultures. You didn't tune in for hits, you tuned in for taste. Top of the hour ID, hand-read, broadcasting from a windowless room between vending machines and enlightenment. Phones light, requests flood. A kid asks for a 7-minute B-side you've never heard. You cue it anyway. Risk is the format. Discovery is the payoff. Engineers, they were artists with duct tape. Surge strips daisy-chained like rosary beads. Patch cords labeled with masking tape and hope. But when the mic opened, the room grew bigger than its bricks. Campus FMs gave tiny scenes a tall voice. Industry impact? Substantial. Independent labels built campaigns around campus charts. Promoters routed tours through college towns because airplay equals ticket sales and micro-ecosystems. College radio became a proving ground. If it moved there, it might leap to late-night specialty shows, then to the day parts the suits watched. The pipeline was informal, stubborn, effective. Scene snapshot. A DG rides the intro with a smile audible in the consonants. First listen. Right here. Snare hits. Phone spike. A band's life changes because one campus decided yes. College radio trained listeners to trust the strange, to expect the unexpected, to love the left turn. And it trained talent, future producers, critics, and artists who learned timing by failing in public with grace. Governance was charming chaos, music directors with color-coded cards, program directors holding democracy in a clipboard, engineers passing down lore, ground lift first, then breathe. Everything felt temporary, and therefore precious. 2-minute drill. Campus festival remote. Rain threatens. Tarps fly. Tape-op sprints with gaffer like a wideout. Signal holds. The whole quad roars when the on-air light glows from a folding table. That's a championship in sandals. The sonic fingerprint? Imperfect, and that was the point. A little hiss. A little air. Human hands on vinyl made radio feel alive. College stations kept texture in a world trending toward smooth. Policy mattered too. Non-commercial licenses came with obligations. Serve the community. Document public files. Teach. That mandate protected experimentation. It was not ratings insurance. It was mission insurance. The result? Playlists felt like letters to the future. Phone blinks. A poet calls in, breathless. Can I read something between sets? You check the clock. You make room. Suddenly, your punk block has a heartbeat you didn't plan, but absolutely needed. Magazines and zines used campus playlists as intel. If a song bubbled across 3 or 4 colleges, writers took notice. Scenes cohered because radio kept score without asking for a trophy. College radio also buffered risk for commercial stations. Specialty shows on weekends mirrored campus sensibilities. New wave at midnight, underground hip-hop on Sundays, local spotlights that treated hometown bands like headliners. What began as marginal became marketable because college radio normalized listening outside the list. Equipment failure? Of course. Heads needed demagnetizing. Belts snapped. Needles wore flat during finals week. But fixes became folklore. Remember when we looped the headphone jack to fake a Q feed? Every hack a hymn, every save a story. The library smelled like cardboard and ink, white label promos, handwritten BPMs, rules scrawled in Sharpie, file by style, not by ego. You learned humility filing bands you adored. Radio, at its best, is service. College radio taught that early. Diversity wasn't a buzzword, it was Tuesday. Global blocks, queer voices, activist hour, free jazz at dawn. Campus FMs mirrored campus life at its bravest. When cities changed, stations reflected it first. Sometimes clumsily, usually sincerely, often beautifully. Clutch moment. Musician interview runs long. You're out of posts. You gamble, drop a deep cut with a 28-second cold intro and land the back announce like a gymnast sticking a beam. The board op gives a silent standing ovation with 2 fingers and a grin. College radio was local and global before the internet made it easy. Tape trades by mail, live-to-cassette shows duplicated in dorms, signals that barely reached the city limits still reached the world through myth. Bands bragged they broke on a station you could barely hear at the bus stop. That's prestige money can't buy. Then came consolidation, consultants, playlists tightening like a belt after Thanksgiving. College FMs dug in, some leaned news, some doubled down on discovery. Either way, they held a line. New voices deserve daylight. You can feel the difference on air. Brett's art edited out of existence. Hosts stumble and smile, then mail the next beat. What you lose in polish, you gain in presence. A campus doesn't need to sound like a corporation to sound like truth. I've got a soft spot for the board training sessions. First-timers with trembling hands. The lesson wasn't don't make mistakes. It was make them gently, fix them gracefully, learn forever. That's radio wisdom fit for life. Metrics? They existed, sure. Arbitron diaries, later PPM, but campus glory lived in different numbers. How many local bands premiered this month? How many zines pulled playlists? How many scenes found each other by sound alone? Impact isn't always measured. Sometimes it's remembered. Ninth inning. Phone lines jammed for a memorial show. A beloved campus host graduates to a bigger stage. Callers share first concert stories, late-night study confessions, mixtape dedications. You realize the station produced a community, not just a schedule. That's the win column that matters. College radio didn't ask permission to be necessary. It just showed up, every night, in small rooms, with big hearts. If commercial radio taught us consistency, college radio taught us courage. Together, they built the countries of our ears. Legacy is visible. You hear it in today's podcasts and streams that celebrate niche communities with professional pride. You see it in festival lineups grown from campus playlists. You feel it when a teenager discovers an old show archive and decides to build a station in their bedroom. The revolution repeats with every file, every feed, every small signal that chooses soul over scale. Final scene, midnight, rain against a basement window. You cue a track you're not sure anyone else will love. The chorus blooms. The studio feels wider. Somewhere, in a dorm 2 blocks away, a stranger grins at the same moment. That's radio. That's enough. I'm Maggie Mercury. To every student who ever filed vinyl by candlelight, to every engineer who kept the buzz out of the bus bars, to every programmer who believed in the left turn, thank you. You didn't just fill airtime, you widened it. Next time on Retro Waves, we ride the night with the All Request Show, phones, dedications, and the art of making a city feel smaller after dark. Same signal, new legend. Retro Waves. Legends of the Airwaves is a JourneyWise Studios production.